Most men fear getting older. They wake up one day, notice the first gray hair or that subtle change in their reflection, and something shifts inside. You start wondering if your best days are behind you. You question your strength, your looks, your energy, and deep down, you start to fear the slow fade. The idea that aging means losing relevance, power, or attraction. But what if I told you the truth about aging isn't it what you've been led to believe? What if everything you've been taught, by society, by media, even by your own self-doubt, is based on a lie? Stick with me until the end of this video, because what I'm about to share might shock you. I'm going to reveal what science, psychology, and years of male behavioral studies have shown about aging, and why, for many men, the second half of life isn't decline, it's domination. Are you with me? Type 2 in the comments to let me know you're still watching. Now, let us start with something most people never admit out loud. Aging is terrifying not because of the wrinkles or the slower metabolism, but because it forces you to face your own identity. For years, men define themselves by their youth, physical power, sexual energy, competitiveness. Society celebrates the young lion, not the wise wolf. And yet, in nature, the wise wolf always leads the pack. I recently spoke with a psychologist who spent 2 decades studying male aging patterns. What he said absolutely floored me. He told me that men, unlike women, experience aging as an existential crisis. Women often expect change. They've been socially conditioned to think about life stages early on. But for men, the shift often feels like a betrayal. You're told to be strong, be the provider, never slow down. And when time catches up, you start to panic. But here is the secret that no one tells you. Aging doesn't take your power away. It transfers it. It moves it from your body to your mind, from speed to strategy, from reaction to reflection. Science shows that men in their 40s, 50s, and even 60s can experience what psychologists call crystallized intelligence, the ability to combine wisdom, pattern recognition, and emotional mastery. Younger men have raw horsepower. Older men have the GPS. And that, my friend, is where your real value begins. Still with me? Drop a yes in the comments if you're tuned in. Now let's talk about something most men secretly worry about but rarely admit: attractiveness. Because whether you're single, divorced, or long married, you've probably wondered, do women still find me attractive as I age? Here's the shocking truth, backed by psychology and science. Attraction isn't as age-dependent as you think. In fact, research shows that many women are more drawn to older men than younger ones, not because of money or status, but because of something deeper: psychological security. Women are biologically wired to sense emotional stability. And that stability comes with experience, self-assurance, and calm dominance. A man who knows himself radiates something that no gym body can replace: grounded confidence. That's why some men become magnetic with age. They walk into a room with quiet authority. They don't chase, they attract. Younger men may have muscles, but older men have presence. And in psychology, presence triggers what's known as the halo effect. When one strong trait, like confidence, makes everything else about you appear more attractive. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That sounds nice, but I feel less energetic, less motivated. How can I be confident when my body's changing? Fair question. Let's bring in the science again. Studies show that testosterone naturally declines about 1% per year after age 30. But here is the shocking part, that's not the end of the story. Research from Harvard and the Mayo Clinic reveals that men who engage in consistent strength training, maintain a balanced diet, and get quality sleep can naturally boost testosterone levels and maintain vitality well into their 70s. The decline isn't inevitable. It's a lifestyle response. The secret lies in how you adapt. The men who age best are not the ones who resist change. They are the ones who evolve with it. So instead of saying, "I'm getting old," start asking, "How can I optimize this new phase?" Comment 1 if you think this topic is worth discussing, or 0 if you think it is not that important. I really want to hear what you think. Let's go deeper. You see, the problem isn't aging itself. It's the story you tell yourself about it. Society has conditioned men to equate worth with youth. You're told that at 25 you should have the body, at 35 the career, at 45 the house, and by 55, if you haven't made it, you're behind. That narrative is toxic. Aging isn't a deadline, it's data. Every year you live, you collect information about people, mistakes, patterns, emotions, and that data, when used right, becomes your superpower. A psychologist once described it perfectly. Maturity isn't losing passion, it's learning direction. And that's the shocking secret. Most men confuse slowing down with losing purpose. But science says otherwise. Brain scans show that older men often have greater emotional regulation, better decision-making, and higher resilience than their younger counterparts. Why? Because life has taught them what really matters. Still with me? Type yes if you're absorbing this. Now, here is something that most self-help videos will never tell you. The biggest killer of masculine energy isn't aging. It's apathy. When a man stops setting goals, stops growing, stops chasing mastery, he doesn't just age, he decays. But when you learn to channel your experience into creation, building something, mentoring someone, reinventing your lifestyle, you reverse the mental clock. You stay relevant because you're still playing the game, not watching it from the sidelines. Science even backs this up. Studies from Stanford University found that men who continue learning new skills and maintaining social engagement after 50 have significantly higher cognitive function and lower rates of depression. In other words, if you keep your mind active, your brain literally stays younger. And here, as a shocking psychological twist, when men continue to pursue passion projects later in life, their dopamine pathways reignite. Dopamine isn't just about pleasure. It's about motivation, focus, drive. You can actually biohack your brain into feeling youthful again. So the secret isn't to resist aging, it's to engineer it. Have you ever tried learning a new skill or hobby after 40? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to know what challenged or surprised you most. Now, let's get real for a second. A lot of men lose their spark not because of biology, but because of isolation. As you get older, your social circle shrinks, your career stabilizes or shifts, and the sense of being needed starts to fade. That's when the mind begins to whisper dangerous things. You're irrelevant. You're done. But here is what psychologists have discovered. Social belonging is one of the most critical factors in longevity. Men who maintain strong friendships or community ties live longer, recover faster, and experience higher levels of life satisfaction. That's science. So, if you want to slow down aging, don't just lift weights, lift people. Connect, mentor, share wisdom. That's how you stay psychologically alive. And here's something even more shocking. Men who give back, whether through mentoring, volunteering, or teaching, actually experience increased testosterone and endorphin levels. Giving activates the same reward centers in your brain as achievement. The secret to feeling powerful again isn't taking more, it's giving more. Are you seeing how this flips the whole aging narrative? The real power of aging is psychological evolution. You become less reactive. You start seeing patterns in people. You can read energy, not just words. You stop needing validation because you understand validation. You've lived enough to separate illusion from truth, and that's what makes you magnetic. Psychologists call this phase self-actualization. It's the point where your outer world finally matches your inner world. When a man reaches that state, he becomes unshakable. And guess what? That's when attraction, purpose, and peace all align. But let's address something many men silently struggle with: regret. You look back at missed chances, failed relationships, or opportunities you didn't take. You start believing it's too late to change, too late to love, too late to matter. That's one of the biggest lies you'll ever tell yourself. Science has repeatedly shown that the human brain retains neuroplasticity, the ability to rewire itself, well into your 70s and beyond. That means you can literally reshape your identity, habits, and even personality at any age. You can start a new career at 55, fall in love at 60, or reinvent your body at 70. There is no biological law that says your best days are behind you. The only limit is your mindset. Now, here is where it gets deeply psychological. The fear of aging often comes from comparing yourself to younger versions of you. You measure yourself against the man you were, instead of the man you could become. But comparison is the thief of fulfillment. Your 25-year-old self was built for ambition. Your 55-year-old self is built for wisdom. They're not in competition, they're evolution. Think about that for a second. The shocking truth is, when you stop fighting aging and start aligning with it, you enter the most powerful phase of your life. You stop chasing validation and start mastering vibration, your energy, your presence, your purpose. Still with me? Type power in the comments if this is resonating. Now, I want to share something personal. I've interviewed dozens of men in their 60s and 70s who've reinvented themselves completely. One became a best-selling author at 63. Another learned to surf at 68. One man started dating again after 40 years of marriage and said he finally understood women for the first time. Do you know what they all had in common? They stopped viewing aging as loss and started seeing it as leverage. They discovered the secret that few talk about. When you no longer fear time, time starts serving you. Let's talk about the psychological science behind that. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for emotional control and long-term vision, matures with age. That's why older men often develop deeper intuition. They can sense when something's wrong without overthinking it. That's not paranoia. That's pattern recognition built from experience. Psychologists call it emotional granularity, the ability to understand and label emotions with precision. Younger men feel anger and frustration, but can't always trace where it's coming from. Older men can. That's emotional intelligence, and it's what separates powerful men from impulsive ones. And here's the part that might surprise you. Women can feel that difference instantly. Science shows that emotional regulation and empathy trigger attraction on a subconscious level. So when a man learns to stay centered, to respond, not react, he exudes psychological safety. And that's incredibly attractive. Now, let's be honest, aging isn't all sunshine and self-discovery. Your body changes, your recovery slows, your hair grays. But those aren't flaws. They're signals of survival. Every line on your face is a record of resilience. Every scar, a story of endurance. Every gray hair, a mark of earned wisdom. The shocking truth? Women notice that. They associate those signs with strength, maturity, and depth. You've probably heard the term silver fox. It's not just a compliment, it's biology in action. Studies show that women perceive older men as more capable of providing emotional stability and leadership. That's the evolutionary psychology behind attraction. And that's the ultimate irony. While men fear aging, women often find it comforting. Still following? Type 3 in the comments if this is making sense. Now, let's talk legacy, because this is where aging transforms from physical to philosophical. When you're young, success is about possession. When you age, success becomes about contribution. You start realizing the goal isn't to live forever. It is to create something that does. That's why men who mentor, teach, or lead communities report higher levels of fulfillment. Your energy expands when you pour it into others. And that's not poetic, that's science. Helping others triggers oxytocin release, which reduces stress and enhances happiness. You literally heal yourself by helping others. So if you've ever thought, I'm past my prime, Think again. Your prime begins when you decide to make meaning your mission. A psychologist once told me, "The man who fears aging hasn't yet found his purpose." And that line stuck with me, because once you find purpose, age becomes irrelevant. Purpose keeps you young because it keeps you growing. And here is a shocking secret most men don't know. Attraction isn't about how old you are. It's about how alive you are. A 30-year-old man living on autopilot can look old. A 60-year-old man chasing mastery, learning, laughing, and loving with intention can look timeless. That's not a quote. That's observable psychology. Still here? Drop a yes if this is speaking to you. Now let's end with a truth that might change how you see yourself forever. Aging doesn't shrink you. It refines you. The world doesn't value you less. It's waiting for you to show up as the evolved version of yourself. Every scar is a secret language of strength. Every challenge you've overcome has prepared you for the phase where your wisdom finally matches your will. You're not fading, you're focusing. And when you understand that, when you stop fighting your timeline and start mastering your mindset, aging stops being your enemy. It becomes your edge. So the next time you look in the mirror, don't mourn what's gone. Recognize what's arrived. The man in front of you isn't past his prime. He's becoming unstoppable. If you want more actionable tips to improve your health after 60 and to understand the psychological dynamics of female attraction, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you never miss what's coming next. Because aging isn't decline. It's data, depth, and dominance. And the truth no one tells you is this: the older you get, the sharper your secret power becomes.